The United States is the wealthiest country in the world, yet for millions of its citizens, daily life is a constant struggle. This isn't a temporary downturn. It's a fundamental reality. For these Americans, the nation's immense wealth and abundant resources feel impossibly out of reach. While the top 1% of Americans control more than 30% of the nation's wealth, the bottom 50% hold a mere 2%. This massive disparity has created a system where survival, not prosperity, is the goal for many. This systemic breakdown affects families from every walk of life. Over 38 million Americans live below the official poverty line, 44 million face food insecurity, and more than 650,000 are homeless on any given night. Most startlingly, over half of working adults can't afford a sudden $500 emergency. This isn't a failure of personal responsibility. It's a failure of a system that has been deliberately designed to prioritize profit over people. The struggle is particularly acute in rural America, where the fight to survive is often silent and unseen. Here, the lack of resources is palpable. Hospitals are miles away, public transit is non-existent, and the options for a better life are scarce. Wages have stagnated for decades, while the cost of rent, food, and health care has skyrocketed. The leading cause of bankruptcy in the U.S. is not reckless spending, but the overwhelming burden of medical debt. For millions of Americans, a single illness or accident can mean the loss of everything: their savings, their home, their future. The system expects you to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, but for many, those bootstraps are frayed, and the ground beneath them is a chasm of broken promises. The great American escape, trading the dream for reality. This reality is something a low-income family from the southern Appalachian region of East Tennessee and Southwest Virginia experienced firsthand. They had done everything they were told to do. They were frugal, grew their own food, bought secondhand, and lived debt-free. They worked hard, but no matter what they did, they were still trapped in a cycle of struggle. This family saw the same struggle in their relatives, neighbors, and friends. Teachers, construction workers, and CNAs who work vital jobs but are still not paid a living wage. They were all in a constant state of fear, knowing that one unexpected car repair or a sudden illness could completely wipe them out. For them, this wasn't freedom, it was survival mode. Tired of living in a country that is the wealthiest in the world, yet barely able to make ends meet, the family made a radical decision. They left. They began traveling through Southeast Asia, visiting countries like Thailand and Vietnam. What they found there completely shattered their perceptions of what a poor or developing country looks like and what's possible when society prioritizes its people. The family wasn't looking for luxury. They were simply looking for a more affordable place to survive and achieve a higher quality of life. But what they found exceeded their expectations: access to health care, affordable housing, reliable transportation, fresh food, and a strong sense of community. In countries the U.S. often refers to as Third World, they found people living better on far less money, with a greater sense of happiness and a higher quality of life than what they had in the States. Shocking health care costs: $7 versus $3,000. In America, health care is a leading cause of bankruptcy. An ER visit can cost thousands of dollars, even with insurance, and a simple doctor's visit can run over $300. By contrast, in Vietnam, the family's 2-year-old had a head injury that required a trip to the emergency room. Without insurance, their out-of-pocket cost was just over $7. In Thailand, universal health care is a reality, and in Vietnam, 90% of the population is covered by public health insurance, with costs being drastically lower. The disparity is a powerful example of a system where a basic human need, health, is either a profit opportunity or a fundamental right. In America, policies have prioritized corporate profits, letting hospitals and insurance companies charge exorbitant rates. This has led to a situation where the government bails out banks, while citizens go bankrupt over medical bills. The food crisis: processed versus fresh. The family also discovered a stark difference in food systems. In rural America, processed food is often the most affordable and accessible option. People may have to drive 20 miles to a grocery store, where healthy options are often expensive. The food system, like healthcare, has been corporatized, making healthy eating a privilege rather than a right. In Southeast Asia, the food system is a stark contrast. Local street markets are on every corner, offering fresh, locally grown produce, meat, and spices at incredibly low prices. Even prepared meals are made by local families, providing a healthy and affordable option for people of all income levels. Here, food is not a commodity for corporate profit, but a means of community support. Local people feed each other, and even the poorest families have access to healthy, fresh food. Why is the American dream a nightmare? The family story is not a condemnation of America as a whole. They still love parts of their home country. However, they believe the American dream they were sold as a lie. The promise that hard work and sacrifice will lead to a good life is no longer reality for most. For 40 years, wages have barely increased, while the cost of housing, food, education, and health care has skyrocketed. All the while, billionaires have tripled their wealth, and corporations pay little to no taxes. This isn't an individual failure. It's a systemic one. Policies from both political parties have continuously prioritized profit over people. Corporations have been allowed to outsource jobs, cut benefits, and raise prices, all while local schools and healthcare facilities are defunded. In this system, you're not meant to succeed. You're meant to be a resource to be extracted from. Are you trapped? 3 ways to escape the system. For those who can't just pack up and leave the country, the family offers a few ways to reclaim a sense of agency and well-being. The first step is to question the narrative. You've been told that your struggles are your fault, that your suffering is normal, and that you must work multiple jobs to survive. You've been made to feel that you deserve to go into debt just to see a doctor. But the family argues that this isn't true. The system wants you to believe you're failing, so you'll work harder, not so you can get ahead, but so you will keep producing for the system. The second step is to rebuild your life around your priorities. If healthy food is important, start a garden, visit local farmers markets, or find ways to source healthy, low-cost foods. If a strong community is what you crave, get to know your neighbors and build a mutual support system. If financial literacy is a priority, learn about budgeting, saving, and living below your means. The family has documented how they did this, and now share their experiences to help others find a new way to live. The third and final step is to consider all your options. And yes, that may even mean leaving the country if it's a viable choice for you. There are safe, affordable, and family-friendly countries all over the world where a higher quality of life is possible. For this family, the difference between living in America and moving abroad has been the difference between surviving and truly living. They believe that if your health, safety, and sanity are at risk, you owe it to yourself to explore every possible option without guilt, shame, or apology. The new American dream. Millions of people are now waking up to the realization that the American dream, as has been sold to them, is a lie. But the universal human dream, to be healthy, safe, connected, and have enough, is still alive and achievable. The first step is to stop suffering in silence and start questioning the system. This family's journey is a testament to that, a story of not just finding a new place to live, but finding a new way to live, a way that is more sustainable, more connected, and more human. Their mission is to continue sharing what they learn, in the hope that their story can help others who have felt the struggle and are searching for something better. Their goal is to help people find a way to live a happy and free life, no matter where they are. The broken system, why your hard work isn't enough. You're told to work harder, to hustle more, to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. But the truth is, you can work multiple jobs your entire life and still never be able to afford a home, pay your medical bills, or buy truly healthy food for your family. This isn't a personal failure. It's a predictable outcome when a country treats basic human needs as profit opportunities. For those in rural America, the struggle is even more pronounced. Rents have doubled while wages have stagnated. Healthcare is a luxury, not a right, with countless rural towns lacking hospitals or reliable public transit. 1 in 8 Americans depend on food banks or SNAP just to feed their families. The system expects the poor to survive in an environment that was never built for them to succeed. They are told to keep their heads down and work, but their hard work is met with dead ends and mounting debt. The constant fear of a single bad month, wiping out everything, is not freedom. It's a life defined by anxiety. For many, this isn't a flaw in their character or their work ethic. It's a symptom of a country where vital, irreplaceable jobs, from factory workers and construction laborers to CNAs and teachers, don't pay a living wage. These are the people who keep the country running. Yet they are the ones who can't afford to live in it. Why community is a secret weapon that America forgot. The third critical difference the family observed was the strength of community. In America, life can often feel isolated. People move frequently for jobs, leaving behind their support systems. In rural areas, neighbors may be separated by miles, and the bonds of community can be strained. In places like Vietnam, community is the bedrock of society. Families live together, elders are respected, and neighbors look out for one another. This sense of collective support created a powerful safety net, a feeling of belonging that is often missing in America. The family, as foreigners, were welcomed and made to feel safe, particularly with their young child. This sense of shared responsibility and mutual care is a stark contrast to the individualistic, every person for themselves mentality that often defines American life. This is not to say that these countries are perfect. No country is, but their priorities are different. They prioritize health, community, and basic human dignity. In America, these things are increasingly slipping away, replaced by a relentless focus on profit. The system is designed not to care for its people, but to extract from them. It wants you to believe that your struggles are your fault, that if you just work harder, you'll eventually succeed. But the truth is, the American dream is a myth for millions of people. Wages have barely budged in 40 years, while the cost of everything else, housing, education, healthcare, has soared. This isn't a personal failure. It's a policy failure, a betrayal of the people by a system that has consistently prioritized corporations and the wealthy over the well-being of ordinary citizens.